L'Afrique ne peut aspirer à la mise en œuvre de l'agenda 2063 pour l'Afrique que nous souhaitons, que nous voulons, l'avenir dont elle aspire à atteindre, que si elle arrive à peser collectivement sur la scène internationale. Notre unité d'action, mais aussi de pensée, de conviction, notre engagement sans faille pour le renforcement de notre unité sont primordiales si nous voulons garantir un futur meilleur aux générations à venir. Le combat pour l'égalité homme-femme ne date pas d'aujourd'hui, mais le progrès, certes il y en a, n'est pas à la hauteur des enjeux ni de nos ambitions. Et l'avenir, surtout l'avenir qui nous guette. L'Afrique ne peut s'en sortir, je ne cesserai de le répéter, que si nous œuvrons ensemble.
Il est donc urgent pour nos pays africains d'adopter et de mettre en œuvre des systèmes éducatifs de santé, des législations, des politiques, des stratégies et des budgets au niveau national et régional visant à renforcer l'autonomie économique des femmes et des jeunes afin qu'ils puissent vivre en toute sécurité. Et c'est sur cette note d'espérance que je déclare ouverts les travaux de cette troisième consultation des femmes leaders sur la masculinité positive, tout en souhaitant à toutes et à tous des débats riches, francs, productifs et sincères. Je vous remercie.
Women from the African Leaders Movement trying to discuss the issues of violence against women and trying to find out a solution by examining our own traditional and cultural practices which can salvage the women from the violence they are undergoing. And I would like to really say this is an issue to be seriously tackled by the heads of states and those people whom we put in power. They cannot continue leading people who are suffering from violence, and the women are suffering from economic, psychological, and political violence. That must stop, and it can only be stopped by the political goodwill of the leaders who elect at all levels, from the community level up to the regional level of Africa. And I think the socialization system of our societies must change. Men should not be socialized to be violent, and to be violent to the women who are very close to them. Sometimes their own mothers who have given them life, and they are the ones who are undergoing that impact of violence.
Despite the fact that there's still 1 out of 3 women who have experienced of violence in their lifetime, there's still significant progress to be done and to be achieved. And the recommendation that we came forward with as an Howling Caucus is mainly to make sure that there is a clear accountability process when it comes to monitoring some of the commitments that have been made at the continental level, also at the national level. The second recommendation that we came forward with is to ensure that there is a clear resource mobilization strategy, both international but also domestic resource mobilization. And we also think it is really, really critical to integrate services to make sure that prevention and response to gender-based violence also include access to healthcare services, including sexual and reproductive health service, access to education. And since we are really addressing the nexus between financial inclusion and violence against women, it is really critical to ensure that those programs also do include economic empowerment that targets girls and women. We see boys and male as part of the solution. That's why we need it today to build the Africa we want, so that everyone matters, so that every girl, every woman matters, but also so that we eradicate all form of violence on the continent.
In Uganda now, we have managed to change the policy. Market women have spoken up. They now have a voice. And some of them are even running for, district level positions, etc. So it's so wonderful to see how you can take women from the grassroots, and they don't have much confidence in themselves. They feel that they don't have the right to speak, that no one will listen to them. But if you have a group that says, we will listen to you and we will make sure you go and speak. We even taught the journalists how to speak to grassroots women, and we taught the market women how to speak to journalists so that they are able to make their voices heard and their issues recorded. So my big issue in coming here is that of the voice. We need to make sure that the voices of women are heard at all levels in terms of what we want to have done. Now, the voices of the African Women's Leaders Network needs to be enhanced. It really needs to be louder in terms of the violence that African women are experiencing.
We have a number of frameworks in place in the African continent and globally for the protection of women's rights and the advancement of women in leadership positions, and covering many, many other issues. However, it is the question of implementation and also the need for full accountability. So we need monitoring to see how we have advanced. What progress have we made? What obstacles are there that we still have to overcome? We also need technical support and financial support. This will be the way in which we can actually realize the full potential of women and implement all the instruments, and also the future convention, African Union Convention on ending violence against women and girls.
I think that is critical to recognize is the link between economic violence and all the other forms of violence against women. And when we realize this, I think we go back to one critical factor, which is education. We have to educate women, obviously, to develop their businesses, give them digital tools, the information that they can use to grow their businesses. But more critically, we have to educate men to be able to think that as we empower women, this is not a threat to them. And we have to educate men, we have to educate young boys, because this is going to be a new reality for them. They're not losing something, they're gaining in partnership with the women, and they must not feel threatened. So education at every level, at the level of the continent, at the level of the African Union, at the level of the regional economic communities and the countries, is critical to help all of us and the continent achieve greater equality, but also greater growth and greater well-being for the women and the men of the continent. Collaboration is critical. So we're in the position where we can crystallize, catalyze the voices of the thinking and the voices of the women, and make their voices heard in broader ways.
For three very important reasons. One is to take stock of progress and to assess the status of implementation of the outcomes of the first two men's conferences on positive masculinity leadership to end violence against women and girls. The first that was held in Kinshasa, and the second that was held in Dakar, Senegal. That's one. Secondly, following the decision of the AU heads of states to negotiate a convention on ending violence against women and girls, a very historic decision for that matter, we are here to also take guidance from our women leaders on what is it that they would like to see reflected in that convention. What do they want to see? What kind of norms they want to make in that convention? What kind of stipulations do they want to see in that convention to make sure that the women and girls of Africa are fully protected from this very important international and regional treaty? That's second. And thirdly, we're here also to define a very important common Africa position on positive masculinity. Over the past 2 or 3 years since the establishment of this positive masculinity agenda in the AU, we've been grappling as the continent on what exactly is positive masculinity. What do we mean by positive masculinity in the African context? And we are here to consult with our women leaders. We are here to consult with our mothers to say what is it that we understand positive masculinity to be, so that there's a very good accountability a mechanism on how we engage men and how we engage young boys as partners and allies on gender equality and women's empowerment.
In 2014 in Ethiopia, I have led a group of women entrepreneurs as well as professionals to establish a bank. This bank is called a Nat Bank. It provides universal banking, but it has a special focus to assist women entrepreneurs. So the business model is unique, and it became successful because the bank focuses on the bottom line, but at the same time we have unique products disposed in terms of deposit as well as loan to cater for the needs of women. And today the bank has 169 branches all over the country. Research shows that when women are independent economically, when they assert their agency, they are able to protect their rights in a much better situation. There is a conversation about having a convention on violence against women at the level of Africa. I am a great supporter of this proposition because as a former Chief Justice, I know how the judges struggle because there is no specific provision to combat the different aspects of violence against women. So yes, we have international conventions, international norms, but they are not binding decisions. We have resolutions, we have declarations, but we don't have convention at the AU level or at the global level. So I'm a strong supporter of a binding convention for violence against women, where we define and also establish accountability in a very specific manner.